before I say anything, before I open up about the one memory that still lives rent-free in my head, I need one tiny favor from you. Just 1 second. If you've ever laid next to someone you loved and still felt completely invisible, if you've ever felt a relationship slowly slipping through your fingers without knowing how to stop it, then hit subscribe. Not because this story is packed with crazy drama or some Hollywood plot twist. Nah, this story is different. It's quiet. And honestly, quiet stories hit the hardest because they don't just entertain you. They haunt you a little. They stay in your chest long after the video ends. So if you're here right now, don't click away. Because this isn't just about one bad night. It's about the slow death of something that once felt unbreakable. And the craziest part? I didn't even realize it was dying until someone else pointed it out. That night started like every other normal night. No warning signs. No dramatic music. No giant red flags waving in the air. Just routine. That dangerous kind of routine that slowly turns two people into roommates instead of lovers. Our house had become painfully predictable. Same dinner. Same silence. Same exhausted faces. It felt like we were actors replaying the same scene every single day until the emotions disappeared completely. I stood outside our bedroom for a second before walking in. I'd started doing that a lot lately. Pausing, breathing, preparing myself. Like some part of me already knew what waited on the other side of that door. She sat at the edge of the bed scrolling through her phone, the blue light reflecting across her face. My wife. Or at least the version of her that still physically lived there. She looked beautiful, but distant. Like somebody watching life through glass. And weirdly enough, that blue glow reminded me of candles. Yeah, candles. Sounds dumb, I know. But there was a time when we used to light candles during dinner just because. Not for Instagram, not for aesthetics. Just because being together actually meant something back then. We used to laugh over stupid stuff, talk for hours, play old songs in the kitchen while making late-night snacks. Back then, silence felt peaceful. Now, silence felt like a third person living in the house with us. Heavy, cold, awkward, alive. I cleared my throat softly, not to interrupt her, just to remind her I existed. "Hey," I said quietly, "you coming to bed?" She didn't even look up from her phone. "Babe, I'm exhausted." That word again. Exhausted. 3 simple syllables. 3 completely reasonable syllables. And somehow, they still felt like rejection every single time. Because after a while, excuses stop sounding temporary. They start sounding personal. I nodded like I always did. "Yeah. Okay." I turned off the lamp and laid down facing the wall. Waiting. Waiting for her footsteps. Waiting for the mattress to shift beside me. Waiting for literally anything that made it feel like we were still us. But instead, I heard the bedroom door open. Then close. Then silence. Again. And laying there in the dark, staring at absolutely nothing, a thought finally hit me hard enough that I couldn't ignore it anymore. When did we stop loving each other out loud? Morning came, but mornings don't magically fix broken things. They just expose them under brighter lighting. Coffee brewed, cabinets opened and shut. 2 people moving around the kitchen like strangers who knew each other's schedules but forgot each other's souls. And honestly, that was the worst part. We weren't screaming. We weren't fighting. No toxicity. No chaos. Because at least anger means people still care. This felt emotionally bankrupt. Around 9 a.m., the doorbell rang. And low-key, that's when everything changed. Jenna walked in, my wife's best friend. The type of person who carries energy into a room without even trying. warm smile, messy ponytail, confident without being loud. And within 30 seconds, my wife laughed. Not a fake laugh. Not one of those polite little ha-ha laughs people use to survive conversations. Nah, a real laugh. The kind that comes from deep in your stomach, and it stopped me cold, because I realized something terrifying. I hadn't heard her laugh like that around me in months, maybe longer, and suddenly I wasn't looking at the woman I'd been surviving beside. I was looking at the woman I fell in love with, which raised a brutal question inside my head. Why was the best version of her reserved for everybody except me? The rest of the day felt weirdly alive. Music played while dinner cooked. Jenna joked around. Wine poured into glasses. For a couple hours, the house actually felt warm again. And stupidly, I let myself hope. Big mistake. Because hope is dangerous when your relationship is hanging by a thread. It makes the fall hurt 10 times worse. After dinner, my wife stretched and grabbed her phone. "I'm heading to bed," she said. "I'm dead tired." Again. Tired. Always tired. But somehow never too tired for scrolling. Never too tired for texting friends. Never too tired for the rest of the world. Just me. She disappeared upstairs, and silence crept back into the house almost instantly. Jenna stood beside me at the sink while I washed dishes, water running, plates clinking softly, and then she said something that hit like a punch to the chest. "She's pulling away from you, huh?" I froze, because there was no judgment in her voice. Just honesty. And honesty hits different when you've been lying to yourself for months. "You look lonely," she added quietly. Lonely. Man. That word messed me up. Because loneliness isn't being alone. Loneliness is feeling unseen by the person who promised to always see you. And before I even realized it, I started talking. Not everything. But enough. Enough to admit I felt abandoned inside my own marriage. Enough to admit I missed her even when she was standing 5 feet away. Jenna didn't interrupt. Didn't offer fake motivational quotes. Didn't try to fix anything. She just listened. And honestly, sometimes being heard feels more intimate than being touched. "You deserve to feel loved too," she said softly. And something shifted inside me. Not lust, not temptation. Recognition. Like somebody finally acknowledged the pain I'd been gaslighting myself into ignoring. Then she looked at me and shrugged lightly. "I don't think you're asking for too much." And bro, that sentence stayed with me. Because upstairs was my wife. My history, my vows, my future. But downstairs was someone reminding me what emotional connection actually felt like. 2 completely different realities colliding in one moment. And that's when I realized something most people never admit out loud. Temptation doesn't start with attraction. It starts with emotional starvation. With absence. With silence stretching so long that even basic kindness starts feeling dangerous. But here's where this story changes. Because this could have gone horribly wrong. And trust me, part of me wanted the easy escape. The validation. The comfort. Anybody would. But deep down, I knew the real problem wasn't Jenna. The real problem was that my marriage was bleeding out while both of us pretended not to notice. I barely slept that night. Not because I was tempted, because I was finally awake. The next morning, I sat across from my wife at the kitchen table, heart pounding like crazy. And for once, I stopped pretending everything was fine. "I feel alone," I said. Simple words. But they felt heavier than anything I'd ever said before. She looked defensive at first, then confused, then quiet. But this time I didn't shut down. I didn't blame her, didn't attack her, didn't keep score. I just told the truth. Raw, messy, honest, and slowly. Her expression changed, like she was finally hearing me instead of just listening for her turn to speak. Then she said something that honestly broke my heart a little. I didn't realize how far away I got, and for the first time in forever, she looked at me, not through me, not past me, at me. Turns out her exhaustion had nothing to do with not loving me. She was drowning in stress, pressure, anxiety, silent battles she never talked about because she thought she had to carry everything alone. And suddenly, all those nights made sense. We didn't magically fix our marriage that day. This isn't one of those fairy tale endings where music swells and everybody cries and kisses in the rain. Nah, healing is uglier than that. Slower too. But something returned to us that morning. Effort. And sometimes effort is the first heartbeat after something almost dies. Here's what I learned from all this. Cheating usually doesn't begin in the bedroom. It begins in conversations that never happen. In feelings left unsaid. In distance ignored for too long. Jenna didn't destroy my marriage. She exposed the cracks that were already there. And once cracks are exposed, you only get two choices. Ignore them. Or rebuild before the whole thing collapses. So if this story felt a little too real for you, don't ignore that feeling. Text them. Talk to them. Tell the truth before silence becomes permanent. Because the scariest way to lose somebody isn't all at once. It's slowly. One quiet night at a time. And if this story stayed with you even for a second, hit subscribe. Because around here, we don't tell loud stories. We tell the ones that feel real.